what's scheduled for today. Next up will be the gift with Kristen, followed by divine intervention with Ken and Anna. Ricky's back with humbled after that, followed by the last step with Jeffrey, and from the bottom up with Jason. And to close off today, we will have a guided meditation with Frank. So it's a busy, busy schedule as usual. Thank you all for being here. As you know, this doesn't happen without you guys. It's all about the sharing. Oh, no. Oh, that's okay. My screen just shifted. I thought I lost my router for a second. Everything is good. Everything is good. And I see Kristen is there, ready to go in the Mexico studio. So take it away, Kristen.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the last gift episode of 2018. As Jeff said, we have a real treat for you today. Two treats, actually. The first is that for the last few years that I've been here, we've been doing this year in review kind of wrap up, which just I feel is just a really great opportunity to re-experience all of the miracles that have happened throughout the year. And we put it in the format of an A to Z. And past few years, we've done a website, but this year we've done a video. And I'll just set it up very briefly. This video was, of course, a culmination of everything that's been happening in the whole community for the whole year. And it was a house project here at Quinta del Sol, QDS. And we just had such a very, very joyful time together with it. And we're really happy to share it with you. It's about 15 minutes long. So really the setup for today's show is going to be, I'll do this, set you up, and we'll go to that very long clip after that. And then I've got a special guest with me here today as well to help us bring in 2019 with really one of the highlights of 2019. So I won't tell you who it is now. It'll be a surprise. But without further ado, welcome again to The Gift. And this is 2018 A to Z with Living Miracle.
I'm going to make this year different by making it all the same. That's the kind of stuff you get when you work with this book. You know, you feel like, what am I? Is this 2,000 years ago? Whatever. I'm in a grocery store and I'm watching a Raising the Dead experience.
The Course itself can stir the awakening, right? So when they open this up and they read it, they're like, what? What did I just read?
Yeah, it just felt like this miracle leading the way of this unknown. So obviously, Jesus behind it all.
So you're my savior because you asked me to join you. And I said, yes. And I said, this is why I'm back. Because I said, yes, Spirit wants to, use the voice to bring light to this topic and to bring joy to it, because the mind rises above all of this when we really listen and follow and get in touch with our divinity.
I worship your holy name and like this. When your eyes are gone, and see only love, grateful and free, with new eyes. But if we're loved, what next then?
And I couldn't even feel my body. And I think maybe I forgot I even had a body. And for me,
the subtitle is, spiritual tools to transcend fear and experience the power of the present moment. And it's non-compromising in terms of what is necessary to be free from the conflicts in your mind, to escape from fear.
Really, in my heart, I feel the book is for everyone. And I think when you have that peace within, then you begin to experience a peaceful world. We're going to walk through this and go for it, and it's so precious. It's all for this.
A new kind of vibe and direction, the spirit direction. Time to start reaching out to all kinds of people, well, everyone, even people who haven't heard of spirituality. And that's what I feel like Spirit is. We're all going to wake up at once. Like, we're just following that inspiration and following the guidance moment to moment. And right now it looks like Spirit.
That's the Dollar Ridge Fire in Duchesne County. It's burning.
The sky was just mystical. I was like, wow, what is happening? Suzanne said, yes, it's a wildfire. It had gone from 20 acres to 6,000 acres, boom, just like that. We were still in the silent retreat when it was the day before it was ending. But then the next day, we had our whole new group of volunteers coming in and set up for our Strawberry Fields Festival. Yeah, you're going to have to take everyone to Camas. They're not to come out here to the monastery. Our plan, of what we thought it would look like has just been completely undone. And so that just started us off in this foundation of we're just all in God's hands together. Yep, we're sustained by the love of God. There's no doubt about it.
The way we do it, it is through relationships. That's why we talk about relationships a lot in this pathway and in the pathway of A Course in Miracles. Do you have judgment? Let's express it. Do you have attack thoughts? Let's express it. Not everything will be melted away in this moment, and that is an experience that nothing can stand in the way of love. Absolutely nothing. No skill, no past experience, no judgments, nothing. And you are loved if you open up your heart. That is the message.
It struck me this morning just actually how powerful having this, because as you said, it's not outside you. This is symbolic of a connection that is available all the time. And it eliminates the excuses, actually. Like, it really does come down to a choice. Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Because there's not an excuse anymore that says, well, I don't know how. Or, no, I can't. It's like, no, you can, actually. It's right here. It's staring you right in the face, asking you, how are you feeling? All you need to do is accept the invitation. Well, what did you think? Me too. Yeah. Oh, wow. We had so much fun here in the studio, like literally just, I don't know, 10 feet to my left here. We were cheering yesterday as the letter Z came in because we had everything done but Z. And we were thinking, Zion, we've got a cat named Zion. He's our newest member of our, animal community. And then this came in with like lightning. I mean, we were all joking that it was like birthing new ideas, and the joy was just so high. So it's really just such a joy to share this with you, and just with full gratitude and getting to experience the whole year all over again with such joy. So thank you. Thank you to you for being a part of it with us. And as I said before, we've got a special guest with us here today. I have Susan here with me, and Susan is part of our book team. She's one of the core members of our book team for This Moment Is Your Miracle, which is David's brand new book that's coming out in February. And Susan and I were just swirling last night in some inspiration around all of this, getting right down into the heart of it again. Like, what is this book really for? So, welcome, Susan.
Thank you, Kristen. Yeah. No, it feels really like the right time or something to be talking about this, because there is something really big happening with the book, and I can see, when I really went into prayer, I can see this is not about a book. It's like this is way bigger than that, and that's what I want to talk to in this, like just how I mean, for those of you who don't know, there was the video we just watched talked about the book, and This Moment Is Your Miracle, and it's a new one coming out, and February 2nd is the planned date for that. So the book hasn't even come out yet, but yeah, a group of us came together very recently, just a few weeks ago. There was a call to join and to just really come underneath something massive that feels like it's happening right now in terms of this deep message of forgiveness. And like, to me, it's like there's something about the core of this book is really teaching that that there's a truth inside of each of us, and that all we need to do is forgive, actually. Every step of the way, that the Spirit guides us. And the more we say yes to that, then the more we can open to this love, to this truth, this vibrancy that's inside of each of us, kind of thing. And so, to me, like, that's everything. Like, that's, oh my gosh, this is what the book is. The book is actually teaching that. It's actually, and it's doing it in a way that is, it's like, yeah, I mean, we've been reading it at the house in the morning together, and just kind of going into it together. It's spoken in such a simple, pure language. It doesn't have the, you could say, the more intellectual quality of the course itself. It's very, very simple, and there's practical exercises that people can actually practice, to really get the practical application of what the course is saying in a deep way. And anyone, like, it feels so accessible to anyone. And this is the part that I'm so fired up by, like, that this is going to the whole world, like, this is no longer just a kind of a small group of people. Like, there's something happening here that feels so broad and so accessible and so full of life, that I just, my feeling about it all is that the more this comes out, and as we, the more that this launch happens and we move into this, that this is going to be heard, that there's like a lot of ears to hear out there, because it's so broad, it's so accessible, and so alive, and like, look at the title, This Moment Is Your Miracle. I mean, that says it all, really, and so I feel like that's where I want to be, and that's where I want to speak from. And the more I can just stay there in my heart and say, okay, that I'm here because of forgiveness, because I believe, I know that this is my way out, and I want to share that. Like, I want to say, yes, this is all of our ways out, kind of thing, and join me in that. Yeah, join me in that prayer together Yeah. And so it's not really about sales or how, you know, I mean, there's a lot planned for 2019. There's going to be some touring. There's going to be like, you know, we're just at the beginning edge really of this. But yeah, I mean, at the surface level, it looks like there's like a pre-order campaign where people can go and get gifts from ordering the book now before it actually comes out in February. And yeah, and there's a lot of social media, and we're just trying to share about this and invite people into this and what have you. But yeah, I think the essence of it has got to stay our focus. That's our team. Our team is that focus of wanting this deep prayer and wanting it together. And come what may, I mean, we've gone through a lot of healing together already as the team, and I know there'll be more. And yeah, I mean, right now there's been talk of a real new inspiration that's come in is something around how we can extend this in a bigger way, right? So we have, like I mentioned, the pre-order campaign, and just, you know, having, you know, inviting people in that way. But we've been talking a lot about bringing in what we're calling a prison ministry, or a rehabilitation center ministry rather, and that's really been that was really sparked actually at the last online retreat when David read a letter from Dale Crow, and Dale Crow is a man in prison who is really writing about his awakening in prison, you know, and he was talking, I mean, whoever was on that retreat, you know, it was an unmistakable feeling, you know, it was palpable. We could see that this was forgiveness in action in a really big way, and he was living it, and he was talking about the prison of the mind. You know, the prison is actually in the mind. It's thoughts. It's not, you know, whatever. It's not what the body's doing. It's not being physically imprisoned at all, actually. You know, and like talking about a liberating experience, just to hear that, you know, that people can actually wake up regardless of what's happening to the body, right? And so anyway, I digressed a little bit, but my what I was getting at was that was a spark for the team to let's go on that. Let's just really pour our hearts into extending this message of the book that way. You know, can we get this book into prisons? You know, can we get this into places where people have the ears to hear, like a rehabilitation center, or places where often I think in the world we can create these lives that feel so good and happy, and the ears to hear aren't always there. Like, my life is good. I don't need to forgive. I actually have a pretty good life. Whereas, you know, in some cases, that's just not happening. It's more like there's a much deeper inward journey happening, like in the case of Dale, and he demonstrates that. Like, he is one example, I think, a perfect demonstration of the ears to hear, and one who wants to go for it in a really big way. And so that's who we want to speak to. You know, it's like, how can we speak to them? You know, and that you know, I think that the team itself really feels that as well, and we want to go for this. So we don't know how. We're at the very beginning. It's an inspired idea, and we don't know how exactly this is going to unfold. But that's 2019 coming in, an incredible prison ministry, you know, bringing in all the different ways and ideas that others have for extending this to whoever wants to hear this, basically, you know. So,
wow, tremendous! That's tremendous. Yeah. Really beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I just love what you were saying before about really bringing the heart to it, and you can so feel it in something like Dale. Like, it's no coincidence actually that's happened, and then suddenly this gateway opens up to this whole new audience, because I had exactly the word that you were speaking about, accessible. That's what it is about this book that's so amazing. It's so accessible, and you need those practical exercises when you're making that shift from like, okay, what I'm reading here in the course is great, but how do I transfer this into my life? And you need the gateways to, okay, start journaling, or get in touch with this, or find your mighty companions, and then the actual guided exercises to help flush some of that stuff up so that you can actually develop the ears to hear a little more, like, oh, maybe my life isn't what I thought it was. And maybe I'm, there's a prison in my mind that this book is going to lead me out of. So that there was that. And then with what you said, like, I felt when you were speaking, like, behind all of this, behind whatever seems to be happening on the surface with this book, is the idea, the fact that you believe that this moment is your miracle. That's what's leading the way, nothing else. And yeah, that's what I'm inspired by. So thank you. Yeah. And as you said, 2019 is just really heating up with this book. I mean, we're right on the cusp of something big with the book. We're right on the cusp of the new year. It's just such beautiful symbolism of something breaking open. And even with Spiri, as you saw at the end of that A to Z video, with Spiri being, it's time to wake up. It's time for Spiri. It's like, that's the same thing. It's this from the bottom up approach, which is making the teachings of forgiveness and the experience of forgiveness so accessible. So yeah, this is just a huge gateway, I feel. And yeah, it's been a joy actually hearing about everything that's been happening over there at Casa Quantico too. That's the book house. And I'm going to leak this as well. I don't know if I should, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we had this inspiration yesterday to maybe take you guys on a tour and just see what's really happening behind the scenes of this book tour, because I feel like that's where you are able to really get in touch with the heart of it. And we can share the exercises and excerpts of the book, and those are glorious. And to get in touch with the heart underneath it like this, with this beautiful inspiration that's pouring through, it's like, that's really the experience. So
yeah, it's cool, because Kristen and I were talking, you and I were talking before the show, and I was just updating you on what's happening at the house and talking about this and that and the relationships and just the whole vibe of the house. And it took quite a while before I even got to the book. And it made me realize it really is a backdrop for healing. It's not really, at the heart of it, it's not really about the book per se. It's about the healing, that the call is to heal. And so there's a lot happening, there's a lot, there's whatever, there's a lot coming up for healing, to be looked at, to be forgiven, to be, to bring the spirit into the book team in a bigger way, which I think is what we're all asking for. But it doesn't always have to look pretty for that to happen. And so we say that in community a lot. Well, that's just a backdrop for healing. Well, it's never been such an obvious thing for me. Around that, just to see just how much, how much the keeping the purpose out front is so critical, because it can get easily sidetracked into these goals that are in the future, like, oh, there's a launch coming, or how many books will get sold, or anything like that. But once your mind goes into that, it's like everything is gone.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, I mean, at that point you've lost the purpose of this moment is your miracle. So it's like the book is even this gorgeous reminder.
Exactly.
No. Come back. Stay here with me. This moment is your miracle, not that moment. That's
it. And we're having constant experiences just like that, where, oh yeah, okay, bring it back to the moment, bring it back to the miracle, So that's it. Let's live the title of the book.
Oh wow. Yeah. Thank you so much, Susan. This is wonderful. And as Susan shared, there's pre-ordering is still available. Of course, it'll be available until the book is available, to hold in your hands on February 2nd. So, I had this amazing experience with it too when I was pre-ordering, because I live here. I don't necessarily need a book, but I just had this gorgeous inspiration of like, I still feel to support. So I bought 3 books, and I sent one to the library where I grew up as a kid, public library. I sent one to a community that I used to live in Hawaii, and I sent one to a woman I used to study with Ricki. And I just had this feeling of like, wow, this just feels truly helpful. Like, I'm going to get this book out there in as many ways as I can, because I just have this like twinkling in my mind of like the next person that's like, oh, what's this? And they open it and it's like, their mind is blown. So I just wanted to share that all of this, yeah, it just seems to be a way for me to support my own awakening, the great awakening, which is what this accessibility really is pointing to. And yeah, so if you feel inspired to support in any way, whether it's pre-ordering a book or you feel a spark for something around the prison ministry, or you just feel a spark to support in a deeper way, please get in touch with us. What is the email address they'd contact you at?
So they can use extending the love, one word, at gmail.com to connect. And then the URL is really simple. It's thismomentisyourmiracle, one word.com. So that's how you'll get straight to the pre-order and all the gifts that, that we're offering, and yeah, more info about the book itself. So yeah,
gorgeous. Well, thank you again, Susan. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a really lovely year. We've just been on such a journey together. I'm so grateful to be here with you, and we'll see you in 2019.
Another miracle moment. Thank you, guys. That was beautiful. Just to follow up, I will post a couple of things that that you can do to get the word out. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's so true. This Moment Is Your Miracle is not about us selling books. It's about getting the word out. And it's amazing how synchronicity happens. Yesterday, during Miracle Movies, we watched a beautiful, beautiful documentary called The Work. It takes place in a prison. And now, and then today I get this email saying, listen, we're thinking about, extending This Moment Is Your Miracle into the prison systems. And how do we do that? Well, one way that you can do is you can actually reach out yourself to a prison or rehabilitation center, a juvenile delinquency center, whatever those are called these days, I don't know, and say, hey, listen, what can we do? We want to share this this book with you guys. So that's something that you can do, and then you can pre-order and then have them drop ship to the places that may be interested. It's really, really about spreading the word. And this whole idea of the prison, it's interesting because it's not a place, right? It's in the mind. And so, metaphorically, by sending this out to the prisons and opening up that part of the mind, we're actually freeing our own minds from that prison that was talked about in a number of movies, in The Matrix, and also in Flight, where Denzel Washington at the end of the movie is saying, I know you guys, he's talking to inmates, he goes, I know you're going to think this is a crazy thing to say, but here I am in prison, and I've never felt more free because I've released this prison that I held in my mind. So yeah, This Moment Is Your Miracle. It's taken off like a rocket ship, and you guys can certainly help us spread the word as well. And also we'll also post up other ways that you can support getting the word out. There's 6 steps, different things you can do on Facebook, and sharing it, all kinds of things, ordering books in bulk and visiting your local bookstore. Anyway, we'll put that up on the screen as well, just to give you some inspiration as to how to help get out the word. What else have I got for you? I've got so many things on my list. Oh, SpiriTV YouTube channel, brand new channel. We'll post that up. Caroline will put that up on the screen for you. You can go in there, have a look at the channel, subscribe to it, and we're going to be posting more and more stuff there to keep us, in mind as far as SpiriTV is concerned. And you'll notice there's a video there right now, and it's a beautiful video that really explains the vision behind Spiri. Spiri AI, Spiri app, Spiri website, Spiri, it's everywhere. And it's just so interesting because it's such a metaphor for spirit, SpiriTV, SpiriTV. Spirit is everywhere. And it just feels so right to have SpiriTV follow that. and be everywhere. So lots more coming from Spiri, that's for sure. We'll also post the link, I think we already have, for the A to Z 2018 video. Just love that. It's inspirational for me. I'm sitting here in Peru going, well, what's happening? And all of a sudden this beautiful piece comes out, and it just opens my heart, and I feel joined. It's just a reminder that we're not doing this alone. So A to Z 2018, check it out. It's beautiful. Okay. So much in so little time. I need to get rid of this time thing. It gets in my way when I'm doing these sharing, so I'm gonna just let that one go. Coming up next is Divine Intervention with Ken and Anna, and that should be coming your way in about 9 minutes. See you there.
It's an interesting word, deadline. It's kind of like a deadline, and we want to come back to the point. What makes a deadline except fear of consequences? Like that thought, if I don't do this, then that will happen. The more that you question fear and you release fear from your mind, you release the fear of these external consequences, you can just be in this divine flow. So there's nothing outside of the flow. Just glorious to give yourself permission to step into this intuitive way of living and see that you have no consequences. Having a strong prayer life, we just will hear the prompt. Remember this, remember that. It's like you don't have to hold it in conscious awareness. It's just given. It's like a little internal reminder. Remember this, and then it's just so easy to do that. In order to come and to experience God's grace, you have to meet the conditions of grace. You can't bring judgments through the portal. You can't bring these attachments of the past into the portal. You have to leave them at the door. And so in that sense, it's a very light journey as you enter into the portal. You get lighter and lighter because you're not carrying the weight of past thoughts and beliefs and perceptions. If you were walking through a desert and you were thirsty, you may have a hallucination that we call a mirage of an oasis. And A Course in Miracles is your oasis. You're hallucinating a book now in this crazy, impossible situation of a world. And you need help to extract from impossibility, to return to inevitability, eternity.
Yeah, David has just been an example of one who I feel has completely transcended the ego.
You can train your mind to escape an impossible situation. And wouldn't you want to do it if you could? Wouldn't that be a good application of effort if you could escape time and remember eternity? Remember your true home. Remember your true source.
It's like when I connect with David in my mind, or in when I'm talking with him or emailing with him, it's like it elevates my mind into this very abstract place, which feels great, because that's our our true identity, our true nature is abstract. It's not limited. It's not tiny. It's not concrete. It's expansive. It's pure spirit.
Jesus says in the Course in Miracles, an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. That's good to know from Jesus. Like, give it to me straight. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. He also says, you are much too tolerant of mind wandering. Put those two together. You start to realize, wow, he's giving me a curriculum to follow with this book, and he's giving me instructions, and they're actually really simple instructions. And there's only 2 instructions for the workbook. Only 2. Don't do more than 1 lesson a day, and as best you can, try not to make exceptions to the lesson as you practice when you move through the day.
It seems like there's a journey where we have to forgive and forgive and forgive and follow guidance and practice, and we seem to get closer and closer. And for sure, on the from the linear perspective, that is the way that we experience it. But what David has always emphasized in some of his deeper talks is that you really don't have to wait, that it's available this very instant.
It will seem initially, when the mind is untrained, it will take an effort. But if you can put your effort into escaping from this world, wouldn't you do it?
If there's a willingness to just go all the way into the mind, to let go completely of this world and value nothing but the truth, then that experience will be given, because our mind is that powerful.
Jesus knows we can do this. He did it. He knows it's inevitable for us too. He's just trying to save time and get us moving in the right direction.
Yeah, David has just been the symbol in my mind of the possibility of enlightenment, that enlightenment is possible right now.
Welcome back. Next up, it's Divine Intervention with Ken and Anna.
Good morning.
Good morning. Camera's going on.
Yeah.
So you came up with a theme name today, didn't you?
Yes.
Gift of presence.
The gift of the present. Yeah.
So that was our invitation to everybody, is just to really be present, not worry about anything else. Just take this time together to be together. It's like, in a way, the Course is like just teaching us that it's just this world is the past. And it can be so easy just to be reflecting on the past all the time, or even going into the future.
Yeah. It's like it's like a wave of the past is always coming into the present. It just feels like the past is big, the future is big, and this tiny second, it just gets dismissed completely, like the present moment. And I feel inspired about that. I feel very inspired because I can see how much of my time is spent in the past or in the future. And it's all fantasy or imaginations or just interpretations that are not necessarily true. So yeah, I guess I'm just feeling very inspired about that today. And you were saying also about stillness, and it feels so exciting and so beautiful that I know, like in the Course it repeats so many times, in that present moment you'll find the answer that you're looking for. So I just really feel inspired about that.
Yeah. It's like the stillness is the last place where we think we should go, because everything seems like we're going to be fulfilled by the world or by something, and yet the stillness is the place to go. But it seems so, why would I go there? There's nothing there. And so the ego is always rushing in to fill in that space with something, and whether that's thoughts or doing something, when rather than just allowing ourselves to be completely in that present. And so that's why we just felt like that was a gift, particularly at this time, because often we start to reflect over what's happened in the year, what was good, what was bad, what I'd like to do in the future, and yet we just forget to be here now. And so that was our invitation. And that's our setting of our goal, is to really enter into that stillness without allowing the ego thoughts to fill the space, but allow the spirit to fill that space in our mind.
You know, it's what you were saying right now reminded me of one time I know this friend that was having some really tough problems, and he was like running out of money or whatever, and he's like, but I need to do something, I need to find a way to earn money, and he was all stressed out. And then I remember one of her mighty companions just said, like, no, God is first, like, God is first. And there was like this session that he was given as a gift, and he was like, I just can't attend, I need to find a way to find money or something. And the other friend just, you need to be here now. This is the place where you'll find your answer. And it was so amazing because he went back, like boom, he was present. And he was in that prayer, he went for God first. And then he heard the answer, and you have no idea like how everything unfolded from there. I don't know, I just remember that. It's so inspiring for me, because I did see how everything changed when we came to this place of stillness. He stopped all the trying to solve the problems in the form, and he was just still. Yeah, that was really, really beautiful for me.
Yeah.
I want to remember that because I see myself going into trying to solve problems all the time. All the time. It's like we need to do something, solve this problem, solve the other, and we just lose. We are just lost. So I want to find the answer.
Yeah, you just reminded me too. I once asked David. I can't remember what the specific question was. I was asking for some sort of help, and it was guidance on the present moment. I was almost like the future. What am I going to do? And like those fears. And he said, "Well, let's just take 10 seconds at a time. Just this 10 seconds, another 10 seconds, and just let it unfold." Rather than trying to fill that gap. And of course, when the fear comes up, that's when we want to fill that space and trying to find the answer inside within the ego to try and flatten down what we're really feeling rather than letting it up. And so that's the same as the past reflections, going over the past to I'm such a terrible person, or the same as I'm reflecting on the good things. Well, I'm trying to recreate it, and it's like the Spirit wants to show you so much more than that.
Right now, like the gift of now.
Yeah.
And that feels so beautiful because, yeah, this year I had one moment where I was like, because I felt like this realization in my mind where, okay, so it was, I don't know, it was something like this, like if the script is written, everything is for my good, everything that is happening, then this second is perfect the way it is. And in this second, I can find the gift that God wants to give me. If I'm like trying to find the gift in the present moment, I'll find it. And I've had that experience. And it's the most wonderful thing. It's like a moment when you're just like in a blank slate with your hands like this, ready to receive. Like a surrender.
So shall we read a prayer for everyone to join in this present?
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to read it?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. So you can take a deep breath. And let these words envelop you in love and in peace. My heart is beating in the peace of God. Surrounding me is all the life that God created in His love. It calls to me in every heartbeat and in every breath, in every action and in every thought. Peace fills my heart and floods my body with the purpose of forgiveness. Now my mind is healed, and all I need to save the world is given me. Each heartbeat brings me peace. Each breath infuses me with strength. I am a messenger of God, directed by His voice, sustained by Him in love, and held forever quiet and at peace within His loving arms. Each heartbeat calls His name, and everyone is answered by His voice, assuring me I am at home in Him. Let me attend your answer, not my own. Father, my heart is beating in the peace the heart of love created. It is there and only there that I can be at home.
It's nice just to join in that. There's nothing to do. Just to be here now. And you found some really nice parts in the course too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. About the present.
And I just like that thought of that there's nothing going wrong now in this moment. It's only when we start to drift off the problems arise. But right now, what's going on? There's nothing to be concerned about, and we just stay here.
It's like in this moment you'll find the trust, you'll find the peace and the answer. I found this beautiful, beautiful section of chapter 15. It's about the 2 uses of time, and it was a little about we were talking a little earlier, and I just loved it. Fear is not of the present, but only of the past and future, which does not exist. There is no fear in the present, when each instant stands clear and separated from the past, without its shadow reaching out into the future. Each instant is a clean, untarnished birth, in which the Son of God emerges from the past into the present, and the present extends forever. It is so beautiful and so clean and free of guilt that nothing but happiness is there. No darkness is remembered, and immortality and joy are now. This lesson takes no time, for what is time without a past and a future? It has taken time to misguide you so completely, but it takes no time at all to be what you are. Begin to practice the Holy Spirit's use of time as a teaching aid to happiness and peace. take this very instant now and think of it as all there is of time. Nothing can reach you here out of the past. And it is here that you are completely absolved, completely free, and wholly without condemnation. From this holy instant, wherein holiness was born again, you will go forth in time without fear, and with no sense of change with time. Feels exciting. Born again in each moment. And I have this prayer for the same with my brothers. I can see them anew every moment.
Yeah, because he talks about that, doesn't he? He says when we meet each other, we're just seeing the past all the time. We've made a decision as to what's truthful about that person, but we don't actually see them in this very holy instant now. So we're consistently regurgitating the past.
No wonder why the relationships start to feel uninspiring. Or whatever. It's because all the past is like a dark cloud in front of our eyes. How can we see truly? So yeah, it's like we have this prayer for the holy instant. Yeah.
To see everything alive now.
Yeah.
The aliveness of the moment.
Yeah.
Without any judgment put upon it.
God, that feels so much more exciting. Definitely.
Yeah. But he's just teaching us to let it all reveal itself. There's the one part where he just says, you just look, you wait, and you judge not. And that's all you need to do. Just look, wait, judge nothing.
Yeah, because right now even like if I forget everything I think you are, it's like there's nothing left but love. It's like seeing the Christ, that's the moment when you can see Him truly. Oh yeah, I have told myself that you're this, this and this. What if that's absolutely not true? That just feels wonderful.
And yet in actual fact the reflection is just coming back to see it in your own mind so you can release it, to be in the present again. That what you're seeing, so our only task is to really watch our mind and what we think we're actually seeing. So that's just our tool for the present.
Yeah.
What we really believe in is happening in the moment. It's probably not necessarily true.
Yeah, that reminds me of, like this has been like my prayer for almost like 2 months, I think, or more. It's just so beautiful. I would like to share it with you. It is from chapter 17, but it's so, so beautiful. And I guess this is like a prayer that I have very deep in my heart. And it says, "My holy brother, I would enter into all your relationships and step between you and your fantasies. Let my relationship to you be real to you, and let me bring reality to your perception of your brothers. They were not created to enable you to hurt yourself through them. They were created to create with you. This is the truth that I would interpose between you and your goal of madness. Be not separate from me, and let not the holy purpose of atonement be lost to you in dreams of vengeance. Relationships in which such dreams are cherished have excluded me. Let me enter in the name of God and bring you peace, that you may offer peace to me.
Yeah, I think that the word trust, trusting in the present moment, is absolutely key. It's only when we make up judgments about one another or the situation that not trusting in the present moment, not trusting one another, not trusting myself. I think that's a huge thing for me, to see people as untrustworthy. And that belief stays in the mind, and then that distorts the moment. But if I give in, if I let go of that, then what really is going on?
What do you see then?
Yeah, you don't see anything, then there's nothing going on. If I trust, then my mind begins to go blank. But if I want to interpret distrust, then I'm going to start to see that and manifest my fantasy of what I hope to see rather than what I do see.
It's a practice.
Yeah.
It's a practice.
Yeah.
Because when we're caught into any situation, it just feels so hard to stop and really get into this prayer. Stop. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and he says you don't even have to trust in yourself, you just have to trust in me. So you can step back from all responsibility of thinking that you've got to trust or I've got to trust something. It's like, no, let me do the trusting for you. You can trust me.
I just want to feel like a little girl again, like in my heart, and like depending on God. It's like, I'm scared, please let me see through your eyes, or I'm angry, let me see through your eyes. It can be the way that I'm looking at it. Show me the way you see it. This interpretation I'm having right now, it's very painful. Help me see this differently. It's just so wonderful. Everything keeps unfolding and unfolding. Like even this show. Like how many minutes, a few minutes ago before starting, I was like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. It just happens. And I'm so grateful for these shows too, for that. It just happens. Like I wasn't worried that or nervous. I was just happy knowing that it's not of me. And I can feel like the peace from that, like all these words that have been said now. It's like, oh, thank you.
Someone said to me once, oh, it's like, trust is like a bank, you build trust. And you keep adding to the trust, like, oh, okay, I'm trusting more. I guess that seems like what we've been doing here is trusting more. Building in the trust, developing the trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not of me.
No.
This moment isn't of me. I can be shown.
I want to be open to the wonder of the present moment. See everything with new eyes.
I thought I'd just read a bit from God is the strength in which I trust.
Oh, I love that. Listen. Yes. Yes.
Just so we can end together. So if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes and join me in this prayer. Today we will try to reach past your own weakness to the source of real strength. Close your eyes and begin as usual by repeating the idea for the day. God is the strength in which I trust. Then spend a minute or two in searching for situations in your life which you have invested with fear, dismissing each one by telling yourself, God is the strength in which I trust. Now try to slip past all concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. It is obvious that any situation that causes you concern is associated with feelings of inadequacy, for otherwise you would believe that you could deal with a situation successfully. It is not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence, but the strength of God in you is successful in all things. Try to reach down into your mind to a place of real safety. You will recognize that you have reached it if you feel a sense of deep peace, however briefly. Let go of all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind, and reach down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of God abides. During the day, repeat the idea often. Use it as your answer to any disturbances. Remember that peace is your right because you are giving your trust to the strength of God.
Wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Lovely to see you. Oh, it's so sweet to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Enjoy the peace. Lots of love.
Oh, lots of love.
Oh, thanks, guys. Beautiful. So what have I got? Tomorrow, December the 31st, is the last day to nominate David for the Walden Awards. This is the New Thought Walden Award that has come up, and Carolina will post in the chat some information about how to go through the nomination process. It's really, really simple. It takes 2 or 3 minutes, and yeah, it would be a great thing to follow through on. So that's the Walden Awards, and nominating David for the New Thought Walden Award. So if you feel a tickle to do that, thank you. And if you don't, that's okay too. Tomorrow, yeah, December 31st, the Sound of Silence retreat gets underway. It looks like it's going to be a jam-packed, beautiful, beautiful session. You've got some beautiful facilitators, Michael, Suzanne, and Jackie. And I also hear that Jason and Jeffrey are heading up that way to offer their support. So it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful retreat. And following that, on January the 7th, and there's still room, please, and there's still time to sign up for Rethinking Sickness. This is you know, I'm going to be part of this from a tech support kind of thing, and I just really, really have a great feeling about this this facilitated retreat. So I'm all in. You know, and something that keeps coming to my mind as I think about this retreat is that sickness is a state of mind. It really is, and we're responsible, and we, me, you, are responsible for our own state of mind. And this retreat will help you get into that and to accept that. Actually, I think there's a lot of resistance. There certainly was for me, and sometimes there is. You know, I happen to have tweaked my back on this massage machine that a friend of mine said, "Oh, you got to try this," and I tried it and it hurt like heck, and now I'm having trouble walking. So what's going on? I don't know yet, but it's in my mind, and I will get there. I'll figure it out. Anyway, that starts on January the 7th. It's Rethinking Sickness, and it runs through February 18th. Something to mark on your calendars and sign up. It really is going to be a wonderful retreat. And just ahead of that, I've got my notes out of order here. Just ahead of that, of course, is Awakening from the Dream, Undoing the Doer. This is a phenomenal way to start the new year. You know, we do all this stuff. We make resolutions, and we, you know, we're going to do. How about not doing anything? How about being done through this year? I'm really, really excited about this retreat. It's something that definitely is I'm certainly going to be a part of, and I think you should too. And you know, given all of the free retreats that are available based on the This Moment Is Your Miracle gifts, you can be there too. It's a beautiful thing. And yeah, the other thing too, for whatever it's worth, this will be the 1-year anniversary of online retreats. So it's gonna be cool. And you know, right now we're in the season of busy doings. So sign up, and as soon as you sign up, the retreat begins, and it's time to undo that thing that we think we are, that doer, and be done through. So that's January 4th through the 6th. That's next Friday it starts. Love to see you there. Okay, I think that's it for this segment. I will I'm filling in time here. I don't know where my mind is today, but I've lost there we go. I lost my space on my spreadsheet here. So coming up next, of course, A Lesson in Humility, Humbled with Ricki. I love that show. That's coming up next. See you in a few minutes. Bye for now.
I'm here to shelter for your heart and cover you with roses, the color of the sky. sunshine, down past what we all know, to a place we've been before.
It's the ride home.
Yeah, it's pure, it's profound, and it's fast. Yeah. We're just into God, and this book reflects that. I feel. What else could reflect? What else could come through when that's our focus? So. And I love how we have been guided. You will feel like you are with David. You know, we have put David's gems in there, and you will feel him as very, very closely linked with you. And
he brings in a parable, a great parable about pollution and bad weather. David was in South America for some time, and his hosts were just sort of upset because the weather was not ideal, and David just shares in this parable in the chapter that he joins with the pollution. He joins with the weather. It's like, it's actually not a problem. And that's a pretty radical step for people to jump into. Like, okay, you know, this doesn't feel good. It's an external, it seems to be an external experience that is then taken into an internal experience. Pollution, oh, I can't breathe, oh, it smells bad. And in the state of acceptance is this embracing the moment. The present moment is talking about the whole moment, like the moment which is always the eternal moment. So it's a fully embracing all the externals, and it's a practice, it's a mind training that we go through.
it's only when we think it's real that we have a problem with it. You know, we project something and we think it's real, and it's disturbing, and we don't see that we projected it from our own mind. So to take it off from the screen, we talk a lot about that in the book, and to live from within, and then we see everything as a symbol. Everything, instead of becoming a disturbance or an obstacle or something that just seemed to happen, we see it as a symbol for peace. We will have it reinterpreted by the Holy Spirit, and we talk a lot about that too. And yeah, I like the idea of symbol, because we start to see everything as a symbol that can be used for a peace of mind.
In this video, we're going to show you how to wake up with movies using MWGE. What we know about the mind is that it doesn't differentiate between the emotions it experiences while watching a movie and the emotions it experiences in day-to-day life. And that's how we're able to heal our mind with movies. You first want to pick a movie to watch that supports your spiritual awakening. You can do that using the Emotion Theme Index located under the Reviews drop-down menu. All of the movie reviews on MWGE are indexed by the emotions and main healing themes in the movie. At the top of the index page, we see the 8 main index categories of reviews. I have a block that I'm ready to remove from my life. I click on that category and I'm shown all of the block's topics. My issue is that I feel like a victim of the world and I'm ready to heal that belief. I click on victimization and I'm shown all of the reviews that have victimization as one of the healing topics covered in that movie. At this point, I'm able to browse through the movie reviews. I'm feeling a resonance with the movie Black Swan, so I first want to obtain the movie from a streaming video or DVD rental service. I also want to download the mind tools for use during the movie. I can find the mind tools under the Getting Started drop-down menu. When I'm ready to watch the movie, I'll read the review first. This helps me to stay focused on the movie's healing themes rather than getting lost in the storyline.
Attack it! Come on!
While watching Black Swan, I notice upsetting emotions come up when I see the main character Nina hurting herself. The upset is my cue to pause the movie and fill out a mind tool. If I can fill out a worksheet when I'm feeling the upset, I have a much better chance of getting it off the perceptual screen where I'm in reaction mode and back into my mind where I can look at what the upsetting emotions are, what the upsetting thoughts are, and what the underlying beliefs are. Beneath all that is the desire to have something different than it is. If I can get down to that place in my mind where I can see that I'm desiring something other than peace, then I can choose again. And the miracle is that I can call upon Spirit to help me make that choice for present peace. The Instrument for Peace is another downloadable worksheet that takes you step by step through the process of clearing upsetting emotions. It's especially helpful if you have difficulty or feel resistance moving through any level of the mind when taking an upset back. While filling out a worksheet, you may also uncover other limiting beliefs, so you'll want to fill out as many worksheets as necessary until you feel complete. The power of using these mind tools with the movie reviews on MWGE is that it saves time in the awakening process. Rather than playing out painful dramas in your life, you can simply let the characters on the screen do it for you. With all of the subscription plans, you get the written movie reviews and the mind tools. With the ProPop subscription, you also get audio and video setups with many of the movie reviews so that you can go even deeper into the healing themes. With the MasterPop subscription, you also get our library of streaming metaphysical movie classics with commentary, as well as hundreds of clips highlighting the key healing scenes in movies. If you're ready to add some fun to your spiritual practice, subscribe by going to mwge.org. MWGE is movie watching with a purpose.
Welcome back, everybody. There she is. Time for Humbled with Ricki. Take it away, Ricki.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm back from Christmas holidays, and it was really miraculous. It was just filled with love. And, you know, I was only in like the thick of Lafayette, where I'm from, for a couple days with the family. So I don't have a lot to share about that because it went pretty well. Just a miracle with my nephew, who I hadn't seen since he was 8, and he was now almost 13. And, you know, it was like he never forgot me. And it just reminded me of the love in a child's heart. Like, my sister was always so worried, how can you leave? You know, you're not going to know your nephew. And how can you not buy him presents? And he's not going to even remember you. Oh my God. He was like in tears when he had to go to his dad's, like, Aunt Ricki, Aunt Ricki. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, I really don't have to do anything for this child's love. So it was really, really miraculous. I didn't get to hold the baby, which was my new nephew. And I'll come back to that, because right before the show came on, I had a hot flash and I almost had to strip off my clothes. So this is going to be my fan so that I don't have to do that. So while I was at my sister's, it was like a hospital room. It was so cold in there, and I'm going through menopause at the same time. So I have a cold. I don't know if I tried to deny it because I'm not a body, but yeah, it's full on. And but I'm really like not bothered by it. I don't know why. I'm just kind of watching it all go by. And I had read something on Facebook that said, if you think you're enlightened, go and spend 3 days with your family. So we went to this big Christmas party on Christmas Eve, not just a dinner party, like my sister's second family. And at that point, I heard my brother hadn't come home for 2 nights in a row, and he wasn't coming for Christmas with the new baby. And I just started bawling. I didn't even know where it came from. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to get to hold the baby. And I just started crying, and I just thought, yeah. And I kept saying, I'm fine. And my sister's like, no, you're not. Why are you even trying to say you're fine? You're not fine. So it was just great. You know, if you think you're enlightened, go home for 3 days. But it was really, I felt a lot of love with my dad, who's really hard. And so here I am back, and I put something on hold. Did I say it? I got a little lost, but anyway, the trip was miraculous. And I'm sick, and that's even miraculous too. Like, I can tell you that I don't mind these symptoms. The only thing that kind of bothered me was getting up to drive over here today, and that went well too. So I don't know. But what I did want to talk about real quick also is that I've noticed that, you know, it's the end of the year. And I remember this quote from the Course: let's make this year different by making it all the same. And I was just thinking, you know, all of us have had such deep, deep, deep prayers to heal. And, you know, it's Christmas and the Christ is born, and we have all these deep, deep prayers, and you have them in your mind like it's a new year, and there's been so much healing. And so as I walk around since I've been back, I thought I was going to stay in my room and rest up, but it seems like there was some intensity at La Casa. And so I just kind of like walked around, and there was just a lot of intensity. So I went in for a expression session, and I just reminded, and here when I walked into the house too, there was some intensity for some. And with my cold that's up, I was just thinking, you know, it's just it's just an answer to our prayers. It's the end of the year, like the last residue being pushed up to the surface. That's all that's happening. Like, it's that last push, so that all you have to do is see, oh, I feel unworthy, or I feel special love, special hate, or I feel, one of the students, such a fear, like a childhood fear, like that something's going to jump out of the pool and get me. Like, all these people are sharing all these things, and I'm just like, wow, just embrace it. Just watch it. It's about the content, not the form, making it all the same and watching it all go by. And I just wanted to say, like, if it feels really intense right now, it's okay. Nothing's wrong. Nothing at all is wrong. You can just let it come up and know the healing is coming to the surface, and you can just see it. And that's your only part. Oh, I see, I feel afraid. I see, I feel unworthy. I see, I feel special hate. And And now you hand it over to Spirit. He's got you from there. So you've done your part. You've seen it, and it's a miracle. It's beautiful that it's all coming up. So that's just what I've been noticing. And for myself, I'm in a very peaceful place of just kind of watching it all. So I didn't actually know what I was going to do the show about. I didn't feel like I had a lot to share from my short trip home. And I don't feel upset that I have a cold. So I was just doing some little preparation for my tour. And I was just writing a little email to my friend Jean in France saying, look, I haven't forgot you. I'm coming out that way. I don't know if we'll have a gathering, if she's even in touch with a lot of Course in Miracles people right now. But a lot of people I've been in contact with, they don't have a group right now. So I'm just going to visit and just, have holy encounters sometimes. It doesn't have to be about a gathering or a retreat. So I was just writing to her and saying, yeah, you're in my mind. And I know you're going through some deep healing and you're not alone. And then I just saw myself writing, would you want to share on the show? And I said, I don't even know where that came from, but it must be Spirit. So, yeah, my favorite part of the school is when I show up every morning and just with my coffee, I just show up and say, how's everyone doing? That's all I do. And I mean, one person sharing and whatever comes through me, whatever comes through me is for me first, right? Because we're teaching what we would learn. And then everyone in the room is like, oh, that was for me. So that's how I felt to do the show. Maybe that is the show. And I would love to bring Jean on and just have her share where she's at. I don't even know if she's in a good space or a bad space because Spirit told me not to plan. So if you guys could bring Jean in France up. There she is.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, it's good to see you.
You too. Yeah, I have no idea what to share either, but I didn't want to plan, so we'll see. Just seeing the word humbled is so, every time I watch your show, really speaks to me. And it's where I am right now, I think, because I'm going through a lot. It's very intense unwinding right now, but I'm also more at peace than I've been in years. So it's kind of like there's this steady stepping back that I didn't know before, with then very intense moments of fear that come in. And so every day is a different subject, different unwinding. I can't say it's all about one thing. It's just everything. And past weekend, I had kind of a crisis of faith. It's what people would call it. Just a sudden, oh my God, do I even believe in God? What is God? And it was terrifying. It was really, I've dedicated my whole life to this now. And then to suddenly say, if I don't have this, what is there? What do I do? Do I throw away the course? Do I just roll up in a ball? What do I do? I was just, the whole world kind of shattered, and it was really frightening. And I don't have any local group or place to express, so I was a lot on the Facebook groups, and I got a message from David. It was several paragraphs, but it's the very first line that brought me back, I'd say, was belief in God is unnecessary. And it just, okay, thank you. It really, I relaxed. And I used the Movie Watcher's Guide. That same morning, I had just said, I don't know. All I know is I don't know. And I'm just going to be okay with that. And I decided to just search for faith on the Movie Watcher's Guide. and just go down the list of the results and watch the movies. I didn't know what else to do. And there was the Thomas Keating movie. It's a documentary about Thomas Keating. And he spoke of a period where he went through questioning his faith, and how he used contemplation and silence. And so that kind of gave me somewhere to go, something to do. And it ended up being an amazing day. I think I'm so grateful that David stepped in and that the tools were there, and I got through that day. But it seems already years ago now. Other things are, the one thing I believe, the only thing I believe is that I don't know, which is why I think humbled is my word. I just don't know anymore. And I don't want to try. I don't even want to think about it or try to figure it out. It's just, I know life as I knew it before doesn't work. I know the way of thinking before through the ego doesn't work. That's all I know. So it's kind of, I'm emptying out, I think. This feeling of, I'm not even thinking about it anymore. I'm not judging it anymore. Just let it all come out. And so it's all coming out very intensely. And every day, every moment. And it's a very intense period. And I still can't say I believe in God. There's still some questioning there, but I'm okay with not knowing. And I know in the Course it says, even if you don't believe it, you might not believe everything I say, just do it. And I do believe in the unwinding. I know that is an experience. It's not something I believe in. My experience is more and more peaceful. So that's where I am now.
Wow.
I mean, I know you have a very strong relationship with Jesus, and I envy that. I want someone or someone to turn to. I want to believe someone will catch me, but I feel like wanting it doesn't make it true, though maybe it does. I don't know.
That's what you're discovering, hey?
So I don't know. I don't have any answers. I just have a letting go, I think.
Wow, that's so perfect. Oh my God, I had no idea. I didn't know that you were even in touch with David or any of this. And oh my God, I really hear now, make this year different by making it all the same. Like you're saying, it's something new every day. Like that was one thing. I think I lost my faith in God, but that's even past. And now it's this and this and this. It's like, you're being given an opportunity to make it all the same by just choosing in your mind that you can't be hurt. I think it's really cool what you're facing. You're looking at it as something's going wrong, but oh my God, this is everything. You know, we all have to get so honest with ourselves. Yes, I have a relationship with Jesus, but I did not always. And the relationship that I began with Jesus was because my mother told me to have faith, and I was a good girl, and I had faith. I believed in something that I prayed to every day since I was a small child, but it didn't make sense to me. I thought, this can't be a loving God. Why am I here in this family? What is happening? And I had to question my faith as well at one point. And what is God? I mean, what is God? The word God, what does it mean? You know, it means nothing. Words mean nothing. You're looking for something inside of yourself. You're looking for yourself, you know, and it's You can take off all the names and labels, and yeah, you've done that, and that's why you're going to be able to be shown that you were created by a loving presence, let's call it, that you are that loving presence, and that all that's happening is that all of our beliefs that there's something other than love that's all coming up to the surface. So you have a prayer, you can call it a blade of grass. It literally doesn't matter. There's something more to this life than what you're experiencing, and you know it. You've had moments of love. You didn't have to have Jesus catch you. Like I mean, even though I had those moments of knowing and experiencing light moments, I still have had to face doubts. Where are you? Why is this happening to me? I've had to do that. But what we're really learning is yeah, there's so many aspects to it, like the power of our own mind to choose our thinking. And yet at the same time, everything that's believed has to come up and be seen and handed over. So I just feel like it's that moment when we really say, look, I don't know if I believe in God. I don't know what I believe. I don't know what's real anymore. It's the moment when you can be shown.
Thank you. That's helpful. Yeah.
We can never see our advances. Like in the darkest hour is right where the truth comes to our mind. So you just keep going. I mean, you're doing it. You're doing it, you guys. This is just a layer upon layer upon layer, and you will get those moments of, and you're getting them. You're finding that peace, because we wouldn't keep going. How could we keep going if we didn't have those moments where we're like, okay, there's a safety underneath this somewhere, I can keep going? Because actually what we realize is that we can't go back. We can't go back because everything that's ever felt loving has what? It's ended, dissolved. So we're having to have our faith now off of the screen, off of people, off of the images, and developing this relationship with this presence inside of us. And it's very uncomfortable. To be with yourself and let the truth be revealed. That's all you're doing. You're being with yourself, calling upon the Lord, or you can call upon the guru of Ashokasha. It doesn't matter what you call it. Love, presence, and it will reveal itself to you. I love that saying. You don't have to do anything. Just sit in your room quietly. Don't even worry about being quiet. Just sit there, and the truth has to fall at your feet. Clearly, I'm not good at these sayings, you guys. I'm not quoting it. I'm just giving you guys the idea of what, like, I really believe. The more I am with myself and learn to be alone in my own skin and can feel the presence of love within me, then that's my development. That's my relationship with Jesus, strengthening and developing more and more. The more I can be with myself and feel that love, and everything extends from there.
Yeah. I'm just remembering Thomas Keating said, it's in the silence and consent. It's just consent to let God in. And even not believing in God, the word God at the moment, that still felt right to me. Like, okay, I don't have to know, I don't have to get the words right for whatever it is to come in. I just have to want it. I have to accept it and not be so focused. My focus has shifted. There's so much going on in my life. People, my mother's dying of cancer, my dog's dying, my friend's dying. Like, people are dying around me. I've got financial problems, car problems, house problems, kids sick. I've got all the problems, but my attention isn't there anymore. My prayer isn't to fix those things anymore. So that there's been kind of a shift from wanting to fix these things and to instead asking for, show me where, show me. I don't even know what, just show me, because if I start to think I know what I need to be shown, it's gone. So I'm not, that's why it's strange to me to say I'm at peace with everything that's going on around me. Everybody around me is freaking out. Either my situation, Jean, get a job. Jean, you need to go. There's people are scared for me, and I am more peaceful than I've been in years.
Oh, yeah.
With exception of the moments where I just go into fear, which is very hard. But there is still always a kind of level of peace that's always there.
That is a miracle in itself.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think when there's so much going on like that, you have no choice but to just get really, really present and watch. That's what I've been telling everyone. This is like the last push. Now you have no choice but to get really present and watch it. And you're going to be shown that you're questioning your belief in God is actually the way to him. You're more present than you've ever been. And to get real honest and say, I don't even know if you're there and who you are, is the kind of honesty it takes to develop a relationship. That's why we do all these expression sessions. It's like, say it. The minute you get in touch with your disbelief, then
it was
you can.
Embarrassing. It's really embarrassing when you're a spirit. That's an identity I think all of us have in our families and around us, is we're the spiritual one. And then to suddenly be the one saying, I don't know if I believe in God. It's like chaos. It's embarrassing in a way.
Good. That has to come out too. Pride, shame. I mean, whatever the concept is, everyone was, shocked when I moved to a spiritual community, but I always had a relationship with God and a longing, but I acted out because I didn't feel his love. What of this God? What of this love God? Tell me more. I needed to understand who I was praying to. And, it's all you're doing is questioning. And that's what the awakening is. I feel so excited for you. And I know it can suck when the fear comes up, but the whole journey is facing your fears. That's it. To see that it's not real. Fear is not even real. Yes. We watched The Matrix. And I was like, what? I don't want to watch The Matrix. And it was so powerful. It's still streaming through my mind that, you are the one. You have made this world and you have the power to see that it's not there. I could just go on, but I just feel like we're all individually being shown right now what we need to take back our power. And what is our power? It's love. When I asked to know, I wanted to know unconditional love for everyone. And what I was really praying for, I saw, was to know that I was unconditionally loved by God, by the Creator, like himself. Show me, and that's your prayer. You don't have to say the word God, but you are calling to be shown that you're loved. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. 5 minutes remaining. Thank you. Well,
it goes so fast.
I always tell them. I don't even know why they stick little notes up, because I read them out loud every time I see them. It's such a gift. I love when I really heard that I was just to show up and not know anything. And then when I was writing the email, usually I would have had a call with you to see what are we going to talk about. And neither of us felt that, because I think everyone really needs to hear. I think we'll all face that moment where, are you really there? Because I can't.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you. Yeah, it looks like it looks like your old place behind you for some reason. I don't know why.
It's a new place, but all my places look the same. Yeah. Everybody talks about it.
It's beautiful. I'll see you in France or somewhere in Europe very soon.
I'm really, really praying to see you
Yeah,
again.
we're with you.
Yeah.
We are with you. You're not alone. It's the one mind waking up and you're on it. You've already said yes. So like I said, sometimes we wish we could go back, but we took the red pill. Sure did. Thank you, Jean. Well, I was going to actually open it up for more questions, but I think I'll just, I only have a couple of more shows before I go on tour, because next weekend is our online retreat, Undoing the Doer, which I've already sent several people to. It's a huge healing for a lot of people. So join us if you can. And then I'll have 2 more shows before I go on tour. And I think Micah's there. Can I see her? Yeah, we'll be flying to the Peace House on January 23rd to start our new adventure. And we're going to be in the United States, but really we're going to be in Florida for a month and a half. That's where we're going to be. And we're just setting up some gatherings right now and just visits. We're just going across Florida to visit, and we're open to just stop in for a visit or to be hosted. Or Micah's in France with her friends on her own kind of retreat right now. So that's all her friends there. They're always watching the show. It's good to see you guys. And then we'll fly to Canada from Florida. We have a 4-day retreat there. And then a 4-day retreat back to back in Portugal, which I'm really excited. I would love to see some of you people in Europe at that Portugal retreat. I think Jesse and Rudy will be there and a couple of their friends. And then I'll be in Europe, Holland based for 3 months. So just touring around and really, really excited. We're so excited for it to all begin. But yeah. And then I have the school. What a gift that I'll be passing on the school to Ken and Anna now. And they'll be overseeing the school, which is going to now not be a school. I'm sorry. They'll be overseeing La Casa, which will now be a Spanish ministry, because we have a huge Spanish ministry. So anyway, there's so much to share. I guess Kristen does that on her show, The Gift. But yeah, I think I will come out. I'm going to do my last 2 shows just like this. Like I show up for the school and just open it up if anyone has anything on their heart, because I feel like that's the guidance from Spirit. So in 2 weeks, I would love to hear from you guys, just to know where you're at, and just like I did with Jean. What a miracle to be able to join with you, Jean. And what a miracle it is to be able to go on tour and have a new adventure with Micah. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So I'll see you all in a couple of weeks back here on Humbled. I love you. Thank you so much for being with me.
Beautiful. I just love when things happen like that. I mean, we always talk about it. Well, we'll just let Spirit guide us and let Spirit tell us what to say and what to do. And I just love it when you see it, because that's exactly what she did today with Jean. It's just beautiful. I love it. Okay, so actually, Ricki has mentioned a bunch of things I was going to talk about. So all of the events are always available. All the information is available on livingmiracles.org /events. So if you think you've missed something, you can always go to the website and pick it up. There is one other. I just got to go to the website myself and grab it. In February 22nd through the 25th, it's now confirmed, Kristen and Jackie will be in Denmark doing their beautiful retreat called Listening to the Still Small Voice. So that's happening in Denmark from February 22nd through the 25th. So if you're feeling any kind of a tickle there, great place to join up with those two beautiful teachers. And then May 17th through the 19th, we've talked about this before. Francis Zhu will be in Solihull, England, and that's May 17th to 19th. And I love the title of this. It's the Miracle Network Conference, and it's A New Generation Speaks. So if you're in England between the 17th and 19th of May, drop in and say hi. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful retreat. And you know, this is off in the future, but it's important to plant these seeds. August the 2nd through August the 6th, the Awakening to Love Enlightenment Retreat. It's something that really is. It's going to be a celebration. I think I'm just getting that vibe. This is something to celebrate, and sometimes it's good to plan those celebrations. So August the 2nd through the 6th in Utah at the monastery, and there is special pricing still available. I believe it's through the end of January. Let me just double check my notes. Yeah, January 31st. The early bird pricing is good until then, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. And what else do I have on this list of things? Yeah, prayer and support. You know, there's lots of people say, oh, you know, the holidays, it's a troubling time, and you know, what do I do? Who do I reach out to? Well, there's so many things to reach out to in our ministry, but there is the prayer and support line. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to get unstuck, and you can find that on our website, Circle of Support, and then follow the link to prayer and support, and we'll have one of our ministers give you a call and just help you get unstuck. It's beautiful. Ricki also mentioned or alluded to the Spanish explosion. I love this. That's happening in Chapala, Mexico at La Casa. There's Spanish retreats coming. The MWGE ebook is going to be available in Spanish. They're just putting the finishing touches on it. That'll be available sometime in January. So that's happening. The MMT Spanish is just taking off like gangbusters. It was in a little bit of a hiatus, but it's getting really, really close to being available. It's a 2-year program. The first year is getting really, really close. So everything Spanish is coming together beautifully. And the focus of that is going to come out of the La Casa, the Casa de Milagros in Chapala. Okay, coming up next is the last step with Jeffrey. So stay tuned. Lots more to share. Bye for now.
We're really happy to be with you here today. We're going to talk about David Hoffmeister's new book, which has been our own inspiration for more than 2 years now. It's become like a practical pathway to peace of mind.
Yeah, we're sharing that really this is a culmination of over 30 years of practical application of A Course in Miracles, and in relationship, in communication, taking all the principles of A Course in Miracles and actually exploring the parables of mostly David Hoffmeister's life, where he simply shares aspects of his life or moments in his life when there were transformative opportunities where his willingness to join with the Holy Spirit in moving through blocks to experiencing the love that was, you know, deep, that's deep in our hearts, in all of our hearts. And so it's very inspiring, highly practical. I had a question earlier from one of the participants in the practicing the exercises in this book, one who's studying the book, and he's like, said that how much is practical application? How much of the book is practical application? And right off the bat, 20% of the book is practical application, and yet the whole book is infused with practical application, because you're with David going through the parables of his life, just very present moment application with. And another great question was, who is this for? Who is this book for? And it's like, well, literally it's for everybody who is, you know, willing to look at their mind, because the whole book explains the map of the mind and uses that diagram, which came directly from Jesus to David, in a picture form. And the map of the mind is used as a framework for the whole book. And how do you go from, you know, there's 18 chapters. How do you go from all these concepts like fear, judgment, knowledge, guilt, special relationship? How do you take these themes and go right down into the present moment? And this book addresses that on a very practical level. And it does involve a whole lot of willingness. I think when there's reading the book, I think you realize where some willingness is needed, and I think that was one of the profound experiences for me. Is there's a certain level of disillusionment in reading the book many times over as we're going through the editing process, that okay, where is my willingness lacking? And then there's an opportunity to work with the Holy Spirit in that and practice. So it's been, I think, a speed up.
Yeah, it's been like,
yeah,
because like you said, David has gone through all this, and so his first-hand experience, practical tools, and then we had to go through them. We had to go through those tools and practical, you know, teachings to be able to put this book together. And it's not just, we didn't really do it to put a book together. We did it for our own healing. And it's been huge. And I feel the theme of collaboration came to my mind, because the collaboration is so deep. It's so, and it started with David's pure desire for God, and all of this came out of it, and we tune into it. And so the Spirit guided us to put together this practical book. And yeah, so I would say that we contemplated the teachings to be able to put it into this book. We lived it to be able to put it into this book. And so it turned out that it needed to be metaphysical in the beginning. So we have a very comprehensive chapter in the beginning that is all about the metaphysics. Why do we experience separation? Why do we find ourselves in a world where we are unhappy? Why do we find ourselves in depression, in relationships that don't work? Or, you know, the darkness. And so the why is addressed. And it's very, it's very simply described, I would say. It's easy to understand. If you find A Course in Miracles too difficult, too big book, it's a very big book, and then This Moment Is Your Miracle will actually be very, very easy way to take it in and digest these teachings. And yeah, the importance of the metaphysics is in the beginning, because like David always says, and we have it in the book, that the spiritual path is about 1% principle and 99% practice. But the principle has to be true. And that's why we love this, because it is true and it is a fast track, and we have tried it out for ourselves. And it's not true in a form sense, like it's not like a method or another spiritual thing. It's actually pointing to the truth in every way, which leads to forgiveness. And that's so the whole book goes through the metaphysics into practical application more and more and more, and it explains how we built up fear and guilt and all those things in the beginning as a defense, and then it goes through relationships and how we can work with our minds until in the end it goes to the final forgiveness. The last chapter in the book is about forgiveness, which is what we need to fully embrace in every moment. If we embrace forgiveness in every moment, that's how we come to peace of mind. And the book explains the how. So that is a short version of what this book does, I would say.
It's a book that is not interested in making your life better in terms of a career, in terms of, necessarily improving your relationships, but your relationship will improve by the way you look at your relationship, by the way you look at your own judgments. And it's non-compromising in terms of what is necessary to be free from the conflicts in your mind, to escape from fear. The subtitle is Spiritual Tools to Transcend Fear and Experience the Power of the Present Moment.
Yeah, very, very, very practical. Very practical. Because we all want to transcend the fear, right? I mean, that's every moment. If we're in touch with fear, because fear is underneath every kind of disease, every kind of not feeling comfortable and relaxed and happy, or feeling confused or feeling in the wrong place, it's fear behind it. So we do need to get in touch with the fear, and we do want to transcend the fear so that we can experience the power of the present moment. Fear is the only block, really, to the power of the present moment, the power of your mind. So it's hugely practical. So if you want to get this book and read a little bit every morning, I will assure you that you're gonna have lots of improvements in your day-to-day life, in your relationships, and in your work, or wherever you find yourself. You will find these tools to find true peace and lasting peace. And I love that, because that's how it was for myself, that I needed to find the true peace. And actually I tried a lot of spiritual practices, self-improvement, lots of different things, and it felt like self-improvement. I didn't realize until I met David Hoffmeister that I can do something that transcends the whole thing. I can do something that transcends the doubt in my mind completely. I don't have to improve Jenny. I only have to see what's false in my mind, see the blocks to love, to come to my true identity. And that's the core of this book and this teaching.
Okay. Up next, The Last Step with Jeffrey and guest Frank from Zurich. Take it away, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeff. Hello, Frank in Zurich. Oh, welcome to the last step. This is going to be the last episode for a little stretch. Me and Frank are going to take a couple of weeks off, at least. My morning shows will be taking a couple of weeks off and coming back on the 14th. But Frank will be flying over to the States and hopefully stopping to see us here in Camas so we can do some recording in the new studio. And we might be doing a whole set of new shows that are pre-recorded because Frank will be bouncing around and I'll have the morning shows. So it'll be probably 12 segments that we're going to share our experience and the 12 steps as we go through. So we can, going forward, we can look back and people ask questions, we can refer them to the shows and things like that. And it was funny. I had talked to Frank earlier and I had this whole show planned out. I wake up really early in the morning and I pray on, what would you have me say? And I'm drawn to sections of the course and some people write in questions and my friend Christopher wrote in a question and it was about the face of innocence. And I went into the course and for about an hour and a half this morning, I was like so energized, like with everything I read, that going through recognizing the Spirit and the Savior's vision, back to you can choose again. And it was like I had this beautiful thing all set up, this basically like a sermon, and it felt really good. And called Frank and I shared with him and he had some thoughts on it. And now I'm here and it feels my experience is different. Some things have been said on the previous shows about some ideas to share. And I've had this inspiration in my heart for some time. And I realized today that I'm actually terrified to really share from that place of inspiration and to follow inspiration in a lot of circumstances. And it was back probably, I was in 12-step recovery back home and I had found the course. And right as I was leaving the East Coast, I was invited to speak into a prison, a maximum security prison in Connecticut. And I wasn't able to go because my uncle was in there and you can't go and speak at a prison when you have a family member in there, at least in the state of Connecticut. And so I always knew that I wanted to go back. And when I was here, the guy kept calling me and saying, hey, can you come back? Can you come back? And my uncle had been released and I was going to try to get back there. And then last year around the San Francisco ACIM conference, I actually heard the words prison ministry in a meditation. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't think that's for me. You must be talking to someone else. I went to the San Francisco conference and 3 people approached me at the conference talking about, one said, hey, are you the one that's going to take over Joe Wolf's prison ministry? And I'm like, dude, what? No, what are you talking about? And it was like, so the reflections would come in there. And then this past summer at Strawberry, Netta Bowen went to San Quentin and she asked me to join her there. And then she came to Strawberry. And when she was there, she said, hey, I feel that we're supposed to, do something together and maybe it's a prison tour. And so I felt it at the time. I really felt some kind of calling to this. And there was still some kind of fear in my mind. And sorry, I'm a little distracted. Yeah, so then recently I was inspired by sharing certain things with ones that I knew back east. And so I started to call them, and it was the idea of extending when we had this online retreat. And I know Susan spoke earlier and Jeff mentioned something, the last online retreat, which many of you guys were at. Dale Crow, who's in Chillicothe prison in Ohio, he wrote a letter to David and it touched all of us, and all of us here at Camas, we wrote a letter to him afterwards. It was like, wrote all these beautiful things. We put it all in an envelope and sent it. And he wrote back, and I don't know what it looks like, and I started recently calling people that I knew and saying that I want to extend somehow. And this book with David coming out, it was like, okay, here it is. I used to, back when I was in Connecticut, I was in 12 steps. I would go to the 12-step recovery store and I would buy boxes of books, large print boxes of books, and I would bring them with me everywhere I went. And every time there was a newcomer, I would give it to them. And even that, like, I remember people used to tell me, yo, you got to make them buy their own book, make a commitment. But it wasn't about any of that. It wasn't about all of it. It was like, it made me feel good to do it, in those moments. And I just recently, having this inspiration, called my parents, and, part of going on this path and everything, I didn't ever want to call my parents and ask them for anything, and I wanted to come from this place of sharing my inspiration. Like, hey, this is what I'm inspired to do. I'm inspired to reach people that are seemingly in prison. If I'm devoting my life to the denial of guilt in all forms, if that's actually what I'm doing, I have this prayer of bring it on. Like I want to really see it all. Like, most people want a vacation to Bora Bora. I mean, there's part of my mind that wants to go sail the Mediterranean with Frank and hit up AA meetings at every port and NA meetings and all these 12-step groups and share the message. But there's this other part of my mind that I actually want to go to these places. I want to go to prisons, and I want to share, this line that to whom much is given, much is asked. And there's such a willingness in my heart, and it actually scares me even to talk about it or to say it on a show. And so I called my parents, and I shared with them. I said, hey, I'm inspired to call prisons and recovery places, the recovery place that I went through back in Connecticut. I've called them already, and I said, hey, I'm inspired to send some books, and it's about, forgiveness, and it's based in an ACIM, and, how many books can I send you? And then I started calling other people. My uncle now is actually out of prison, but he's back into another place where I used to go speak every Sunday night with my sponsor. And it was a corrections place. It was a place where people could go instead of going to prison. They had a choice, seemingly, that they could either go to this place and spend 45 days or longer to practice recovery and all these things. And we used to go there every Sunday. And then at our other meeting, we would ask people, can you donate books? Any spiritual book you have. And then we would hand them out at those meetings. And I remember seeing those guys' faces, like the guys that would sit up front that were so open to it, were so inspired by these things. So I called this guy a couple of nights ago, and I called him and I said, hey, Bill, so you've been asking me after I gave him all my Eckhart Tolle and all these other things when I left, 3 years ago. I gave him all my CDs and spiritual stuff. I loaded it all on him, and he loved it. And he said, let me know what my next book is when it comes out. And I said, hey, Bill, I got the book for you. It's coming out. And I said, listen, I also want to send you 100 of them, maybe more, so that you can bring them to Sunday nights and hand them out to those guys. And he was so happy. He was like, oh, I'm your man. Send me as many as you got. I'll get them in the hands of the people that need it. And it was like, and I realized just by following this inspirational prompts, just a little bit was opening up my heart and my mind. So then I made another call, and I called my friend Jimmy. And I said, hey, Jim, he actually follows me on these shows. And I called him up and I said, hey, Jim, I don't know if we can get these books into the Connecticut prisons, because I know it's hard to get books in there, but I'd like you to receive some for me. He was so overcome with joy. He said, it's an honor. It's an honor that I'll do that for you. And he goes, not only that, I can get the books in the prison. You can't get them in there, but he can get them in like one by one or handing them out to these people. And so then just before the show, it's like, I really want to extend in this way. And I keep praying, how can I do it? After the show, I'm going to go on Facebook and I'm going to put a post. Any one of my friends that has an inmate number or someone who's in recovery, if they're in a 28-day or a 45-day, private message me their information, their address, private message me their inmate number, and I'll send them a book directly. And then even with where I was going with that other part is my uncle's now in that place. My buddy Jimmy, I said, hey, Jimmy, I want to get this book into my uncle's hands. He goes, don't worry, I'll do it for you. Like nothing is outside of like this inspiration when I open it up. And It's funny. I even before the show, I was in the shower when I was praying on. I mean, I was ready to read The Face of Innocence and all this stuff, and me and Frank were talking about the face of innocence is this idea that everything, metaphysical ghosting, we call it here most of the time. And this idea that everything's great, but deep down we have all this terror that we don't want to look at. And, David says when he speaks, the people that are in recovery, and most of the people in prison are one step away from awakening, from the realization. It's the ones that are, driving down the highway, slip sliding away, that think everything's perfect, that are too, doubly removed from heaven, from reality. And I said that to Frank, and the other day I was talking with someone here and I shared something about my experience, and they're like, "Oh, that's terrible." I was like, no, it's not terrible. It's actually what I needed. Like, I was sharing with Frank earlier, if I didn't have these seeming disease, of drugs and alcohol, I would still be out there in the world thinking I was happy. I told Frank, like, me and you would be, if we could only drink a 6-pack and smoke a half a joint, you and me, we would be on a yacht, just driving around thinking we were in heaven, in the Savior's vision. There's this choice, thinking that it's heaven or hell. It's a choice I make. But when I don't know, that I'm gone. And most of these people, like the ones that I've met in recovery and ones that are in prison and seemingly like trapped, are so ready for this message of hope. And it's like, I always think that I was given this gift of innocence. And in 12 steps, they say love and tolerance is our code. If I could go into 100 prisons and convince one person that he wasn't alone. When I went to the website for the new book, This Moment Is Your Miracle, it says, how do I transcend fear, this loneliness, depression, and fear? Like, to give them a book that has the spiritual tools that might reach more people than a 12-step book, because a lot of people don't even want to admit that. If I could actually give that to one person, that is like, yeah, again, it feels like I'm reaching different parts of my mind with it, and I don't know what it is. And yeah, I just want to be open to whatever the inspiration is. And Frank, this was kind of surprised. I didn't know what this was going to be like when I started talking about it. But it was like, when I started looking at even the course this morning, when I was talking to Frank, and he was like, I'm not really feeling this section, but that choose again section, I've been, doing that over and over, and I've been reading that section. And I was amazed when I was looking at the book this morning. I was like, oh my God, it's becoming so simple, like that it is all the same. It's like, when I read the end, I'm like, just over and over, he's asking us to choose again. And it's like, if you haven't heard us for the first 666 pages, here's one more section. You can choose again at the very end. And it's like, oh my God. And I can choose again, even to follow these prompts. And I guess I just want to expose my fear around it, and thinking of what people will think, or that I'll be unsuccessful. All the fears that are in my mind, I don't want them anymore. I actually want, when I was in the shower, I started praying, and there was a call I had with some of our mighty companions in Mexico. And just this emotion came up in me that, yeah, there's a lot of inspiration to share, what has been so freely given. And that's 12 steps. What has been so freely given to me, and what has been given to me, an idea of innocence in my mind, not the face of innocence, the true. So if I can reach one person, seemingly outside of myself, that's the way I have to. Those questions, if you've watched my morning show, the nightly review, the last one that I shared on that morning show, it was, am I thinking of myself? ? And then I write, yeah, I'm thinking of myself here and here. Or am I thinking of others and what I can pack into the stream of life? So I literally want to embrace that question and see what I can do for others as this show comes to a first season close. And maybe this year is the year for me for a prison ministry, or just reaching out in different ways. And me and Frank having inspirations around pre-recorded shows where we can get, more creative. And even in that, the new Spirit direction, we want to extend our message to people. We want to reach people in a new way, like Andy and Nicholas are talking about, the millennials and these ones. And Jonas, if you're watching, he sends me messages every morning because my new show is relatable. He says it's tangible, something I can do. And it's like, I guess I'm on here today just to share my prayer and say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going up into a silent retreat for a week. And I said, oh, now I want to make all these calls, or I want to take my computer. And hopefully when I send this Facebook post out, my name's Jeffrey Thomas on Facebook. And if anyone watching knows anyone that went into recovery or even just needs this message, they don't have to be in a place or has a prison or a prison number. And I'm calling Dale's prison tomorrow to see how many books I can send Dale. I called on 2 days ago and they said, call back on Monday and talk to the warden. And it's like, even when I do I called the Utah State Prison. I said, talk to the mailroom on Monday. I'm going to call them back and say, okay, how many books can I send to the prison? Then maybe someday I'm going to be walking through Utah and run into a guy and have a holy encounter with someone that read this book. Oh, you live with David? Oh, I read this book. And then there's going to be this, oh my God, I'm actually freeing my own mind in some way. So anyway, Frank, maybe we should see how you're doing. I can't hear. Can't hear you, Frank. Okay, there you are.
I was muted. Okay, so yes. Oh, they said a lot of things. You know, it's always been inspiring for me to, you know, to extend. And I love this word extend. And I learned it from you guys that, you know, there is this, this thing in the 12 steps that we have, you know, that we're responsible. And it's almost like going out to, you know, recruit, like, you know, we have the attraction promotion principle rather than promotion principle, but it's a very thin line to go out and save the world, you know, and this is what I learned from, you know, since I've joined, is that it's not to save the world, but just, you know, we're asking Spirit, where do you want me to be? And I'm exactly at the right place at the right time, saying things, you know, that I say, wow, did I just say this, you know? Or, you know, even closing my eyes and say, what do I answer to this, you know? And then this perfect sentence comes out, you know, and it's really such a gift to be able to extend and also with the books. And, you know, it also for me, you know, when we were talking, I was thinking, yes, this is really, it's a mission, you know, it's such an honor to be able to, you know, extend this super powerful thing, you know, and thinking of how I felt when I came into the program in 1984. I mean, I was lower than the lowest, you know, crawling under a rock. And today, look what we can do. And like, as you said, you know, I didn't do it out of virtue. I did it because really I didn't have a choice. And you know, this is literally, this is what I'm learning now too. I never had a choice. And I think at one point, you know, in 1984, I thought I had a choice. I was going to give myself an overdose and it was very, you know, it was there, the choice. And I thought, and then some thought came into my mind and I thought, just give it another few hours. You know, it turned into 35 years, but it's you know, this is where I was, this is what I was always supposed to do. And like, you know, if I knew what it was going to entail, because some of it is so hard, I don't know if I would have made that choice in 1984. But, you know, as I said, I probably didn't have it. And so, you know, your prison, you know, all this stuff is really inspiring what I've been getting to do in the last year, and I have been able to contribute. And, you know, as you said, if there, you know, there's that line in the big book, it says, then Bacchus boomeranged on us, which, you know, Bacchus being the god of wine. And I would say, yeah, if you hadn't boomeranged on me, like you said, I would still be doing it, you know? So, but that wasn't, you know, part of this real rock. I mean, the rock bottom, and you mentioned that before, was very hard for me. It was, you know, it involved, I mean, I was heavily addicted to heroin, and, you know, and so much guilt, and it was horrible, but I'm so grateful for it today. You know, nothing, and there's a promise, we will not wish to shut the door on the past. And, you know, I'm really grateful for the whole path. And I find, you know, you said a lot will be asked, and I find incredibly a lot is asked. And sometimes I think it's too much. I remember telling David, oh my God, why me? You know, when we were having dinner or something, and it is a lot to undo all this. And, you know, I wasn't so inspired about that self-concept versus self thing. Read that yesterday, but that is the hardest thing, is to undo the self-concept. And I didn't, you know, and this is something we learned in the steps before, is that we had to learn to become transparent very quickly, because otherwise we were going to die. So the part in there where I didn't understand, and I mentioned to you about, you know, what was it? The face, do you remember?
The face of innocence.
Yeah, the face of innocence. I don't have to wear that anymore. And I didn't have to wear that for a long time. But as you said, I was really very inspired recently by the Choose Again, you know. And it's fine. I'm reading this a lot. And, you know, to know I can feel this connection with the Son of God, you know, my true self, and I can really feel that strength, you know, that's there. And sometimes it's really easy to say, I will choose that and not the weakness. And sometimes it's incredibly hard because I'm not connected to it at all, you know. But it's such a cool, you know, it's what did you say, 666 pages later, and I thought, oh, I shouldn't even be reading this. I'm not even there yet. And yet, you know, now it's been the thing that's been with me the most, that I can really go and choose the Christ, you know, choose the Son of God. And yeah, I had to go for an MRI the other day. And it was a very uncomfortable thing they did, and you know, they put you in this, but it was uncomfortable also physically, the position they put me in. And I just went in with that thought, you know, and I was in there for about 40 minutes. And at one point, you know, they put this thing in your veins. It's I don't know, some kind of something for them to see. And I thought they put some tranquilizer in there. And when I came out, you know, I asked him, what did you put in there? He said, we didn't put anything. I was totally, you know, I was so relaxed because you know, it really worked. It really worked. I just went in there and I chose the strength. I will not choose weakness, you know, and it was, and it's so tangible, you know, it was very tangible for me. So, I go back to it every time now. I'm reading it several times a week, and it's very powerful for me.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I went to grab my journal, and I didn't bring my pen in with me because I was going to write something that came to me. Because after I spoke and you started, it was anyone that watches my morning shows on Tuesday and Thursday. I'm always asking questions, you know, because the ego is the questioning part of my mind. So I want to present the right questions to it. And I wrote down earlier, you know, what is the meaning of what I behold? And that's part of the things. What is it for? About this question that I ask myself at night, and what I'm sharing about, you know, here today, and what Frank's touching on, is this idea of extension, you know, or projection. This is the choice, you know, that he says in the last section, continues to hammer it home, you know, that I am choosing extension or projection. So as I go into a silent retreat for a week, this is going to be a great question to ask myself. And the question is, what am I communicating? You know, how am I, if the body is a communication device, I want it to be used. And maybe it is me sending books to Dale and every other one that I can show, you know, in my mind. But if I can actually ask that question, then the other question that I ask at the end of the night, what am I doing for others? What am I packing into the stream of life? I can keep that present in my mind. Because as you know, in the 12 steps, we're just moving from self to others. That's 1 to 12. It's like at the beginning, I think I have control and I'm moving away from it to service. You know, honesty is the first spiritual principle and service is the last one. So I guess I want to keep that question as our last episode, you know, of the first season comes to a close. I really want to keep that in my awareness. What am I communicating today? It's the same thing I spoke before when step 2. How am I rightly relating to my fellows? Because how I do that is how I'm relating to my higher power, to God. And so I really want to keep that question. I'm going to keep that part of my journal now as this show comes to a close and we start getting into the new Spiri direction and the new studio, which Jason's going to be on next to share some about his new show idea, and with Frank coming this way and our new show, how it will look. If you have any ideas, message me and Frank, you know, Jeffrey Thomas, Facebook, along with someone that you think needs this message of hope, you know, this spiritual toolkit. You know, even in the 12 steps, it says, are we able to use this spiritual toolkit laid at our feet? And it's like, so now it's this idea of, yeah, I always think of Spider-Man too when I hear that line of, you know, with great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility. Well, guess what? Given the power of God, it's going to seem, while I believe in a body and world, that I can extend in that way. What's his name there? Wapnick. When you look at the amount of stuff that guy wrote, Yogananda, when you see the end of his movie, it's like he went into his room and started writing for years. You know, David's on the internet all day, wakes up at 3 a.m. and he's emailing people and he's extending constantly because it brings him joy. It's like, I want to be used in the same way. So right now, that's my prayer. And I'm going to keep this question at the forefront of my mind. How am I communicating? And yeah, so I just wanted to share that with everyone here on the last step for our show and with you, Frank. And I look forward to you coming our way. So, yeah, we got a couple of minutes left, Frank. I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, you know, I was this extending, like, you know, I just have I wasn't feeling well today. I've been sick in bed for the couple of days, and I thought, you know, I don't want to do the show, and the reason I muted myself because I was coughing, and then I realized, you know, I have to extend, you know, and you know, if I hadn't, and this is, and I love being on the show, but today I just thought, you know, I was trying to I had to sort of push myself to do it, and you know, if I hadn't done, I've done a lot of things that I didn't want to do, and that's why I'm here. You know, that's why I'm still here 35 years later, and you know, so my ego also, when I join, you know, like now I spent Christmas with David and Lisa, and I spent a lot of time with them in the last 3 months, really. And then when I come back, you know, and sometimes when I come back from a retreat, I get really sick. And that's another thing, you know, that those are just those ego, I guess, ego whiplash or backlash. And I just walk through it, you know, I walk through it and I show up. Also when I don't want to show up. So I think that's the 2 minutes right there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Frank. Thank you all for joining the last step, and we will be back. Good day.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, that puts a whole new twist on I'll be back. Hope to see you guys soon. Okay, what have I got left to share? The list is getting smaller, and that's a good thing. Let me see if I have the details here. There's a revamping of David's Facebook page. We're going to start putting much more attention onto that particular page. And I just lost my place. Where is it? Okay. Yes, social media. So it's a Course in Miracles and David Hoffmeister. It's a Facebook page. It's a Facebook group, and what we're feeling is to put a lot of energy into that particular Facebook group, and it'll be all about joining. Something that's happening now in other places as well, but we felt to put a little bit of a focus on something that we could help with as well. So keep an eye out for that. A Course in Miracles and David Hoffmeister Facebook page. That's something that's new and hot off the press. And believe it or not, I think I'm all caught up. So you can take a break from hearing me for the next few minutes, and we wait for Jason and From the Bottom Up. See you shortly.
Does your life feel like it's out of control and moving too fast? Do you find yourself frustrated by little things? Are you having trouble communicating with the one you love? Are you preoccupied and aggravated with the endless game of living? Take a time out. Breathe. Help is here. The 30-day Unwind Your Mind experience is a 30-day mind detox that can help bring you to a real day-to-day experience of peace. During the program, you will receive an inspired teaching delivered to your inbox daily. You will have the opportunity to join a private, interactive Facebook group where you can connect with mighty companions. You can link into weekly movies with live commentary and the opportunity to ask questions that may have arisen from the emails. As you allow your mind to be guided into a peaceful way of being, joy will return. Join us for the next program. you tell me what it is you feel is helpful about this doorway for those coming to it? It's wide open. What do you feel is helpful for them?
Yeah, well, this doorway, it seems to be hidden to the everyday perceptions of the world, the linear perceptions. So it's almost like an esoteric doorway into mysticism, and it can be quite disturbing to the ego. So I would say don't be alarmed as you come close to this doorway, because the ego may have some reactions. But it's a very gracious doorway. It's God's love and grace coming into awareness. And there still seems to be steps to take. The mind is very addicted to linear time, and so it has to come in a form of steps. But each step leads happily on to the next step and the next. And with each step inward that you take through this doorway or through this portal or gateway, every step gets lighter and lighter, and you become less aware of the elements of time and space. So in order to come into experience of God's grace, you have to meet the conditions of grace. You can't bring judgments through the portal. You can't bring these attachments of the past into the portal. You have to leave them at the door. And so in that sense, it's a very light journey as you enter into the portal. You get lighter and lighter because you're not carrying the weight of past thoughts and beliefs and perceptions.
It's just absolutely amazing. Yesterday I started reading and already just felt, I don't know, like, it just felt as if God was speaking, like as if God wrote it, like as if there was no interference, there was no wall in between. It's just really, I'm very grateful, and I had the idea of maybe I could give like a free song from the album that really captures the essence of This Moment Is Your Miracle. I would be happy to do that, so that people get like a free song with their book download or with their purchase or whatever. That would be nice.
Miracles should be involuntary. Wouldn't it be great to be such a habitual miracle extender that all you can do is extend miracles, and only constructive, helpful acts that would bless you and bless the entire universe would happen in an involuntary way, without your effort. What does this even mean? It just means you're so aligned with God and the Holy Spirit that you're just flowing through the day, and miracles are just emanating and radiating through you everywhere you seem to go, everyone you meet.
I'm just so grateful to be here. I've been through a number of these online retreats, and I have been just blown away with the intimacy and just how I feel everybody. You know, it's like there's physical bodies in this room, but it's no different to being connected with all of you. It's just that connection, that minds really are joined. You know, so I'm just so grateful to be here, and thank you.
And I feel something is stirring in me so deep, and I'm ready for it. and I couldn't have expected this to come from an online retreat.
Welcome back, everyone. So we're winding down the year, and it's time to go deep, get down to the bottom of things and raise it up. And how perfect. What a great segue into the next show. From the bottom up with Jason. Take it away, Jason.
Thanks, Jeff. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. Oh, sweet. Maybe I can do gallery view just to start the show. Oh, there's Pablo and Melissa, Susan, Troy, Julie, Frank, SpiriTV, Heidi, John. Oh, wow, this is great. Normally we do this at the end, but Sharon driving a car. Bridget. Well, yeah, this is kind of an end of a season, actually. This is the last show for the end of the year, and we're going to be taking a 2-week break from regular studio activities to retool. I'm actually going to give you a little tour of the studio because, yeah, we've got this brand new studio outside that's being built, and it's going to be finished in a couple days. So the morning shows are going to be on hold until the 14th, and this is my last From the Bottom Up show for this season and for the next few weeks. And at this time, I'm now going to be moving to Saturday, starting Saturday, I think it's the 12th. And we're going to be in the new studio with a live studio audience, and we're only going to be on Spiri.ai, the website, because here there's restrictions with clips, and I like to do magic show clips and comedy and, I don't know, hopefully keep the deep presence while sharing it in a way that, yeah, just keeps bringing in a new crowd and having fun. So I have a lot of big ideas, but they don't always manifest. Like maybe having Jim Carrey on or something like that. But we've been thinking like that for years. So whatever the spirit wants to do, we know we're just going to have fun and be interactive and in the moment. We don't really script too much, but that's another part of the new shows that are coming off of Sunday, is we really want just like a new higher quality, better cameras that rotate through the room. And I'll show you in a sec, but we kind of have limited space here for spontaneous guests. So, well, maybe I could give you a behind the scenes look at, because this is the end of an era. This is the last you're ever going to see these shows from the studio, because it's about to be dismantled. So I thought I could give you a little pre-New Year's celebration of what it is we have going on. So can everybody see what I'm showing? Okay. So you see, this is what I look at. This is what all of us are in the studio. We see you on your faces. See, there's Mary. Mary, wave for us and see if we can see you. Double wave. There we go. You see Jeff up there? I see Jeff. I see Jeff like that. And so we have these really expensive cameras. This is why we needed these patron donations. They're like $10,000 cameras each. And we have 3 of them. So we always have to remember which camera to look at. So with the new studio, we're going to have a system that's going to have like little red lights or something, so we can improve where we're supposed to look and spread it out so we get different angles. There's our sound booth where people go in and do recordings for books. It's a little packed with things right now because nobody's recording books. This is the light. This is how we get the nice soft light on the chair in our faces. And this set is constantly evolving. See, there's for guests. Look how tiny it is. We have a green screen beyond there and all these lights on these racks. But we can't really use it. So I'm going to show you the studio. People, look what it looks like. See how that's why it's so tempting for them to talk to me, because they're right behind the TV. So every time I forget something, they're ready to help me with what it is I've forgotten. But then I'm looking at them and not you guys. So the new studio is going to resolve that, because they're going to be behind a glass wall. So they can't speak, even if they wanted to. It's their last chance. It's just their last chance to speak. We're going to have somebody in the studio with me helping communicate. And whoever's in there. Look, there's Zach in the back corner. From Heidi to everyone, beautiful. Look at this. Look at this mixer. This is Jeffrey's halftime job, is moving all of those buttons all the time while he's helping supervise Nicholas and Zach. But what's that machine do there, Nicholas?
This is a switcher, so I can go from this close-up shot to you to our other setup shot for 2 people. I have a laptop view, so if I move anything from there over there.
Whoa.
so that then people can see them. Check out our chords. Yeah,
good.
got our
These
chords set
backup
up.
chords. It's the only thing we can handle everything except the power going in. Then we just pray.
Just pray for a miracle.
Look at all these screens. Look at Zach's. These are his monitors. So, Zach, you're new to the studio team. What the other day you shared at our Christmas celebration, you shared that you were so grateful for something, but I missed it. I wasn't there to hear. And maybe you could share with us why. Why, you know, you've had a good job, you were a school music teacher, you came here, and now you're doing this. Never probably thought you'd be doing that. Why are you grateful?
Yeah, I just really feel there's like a deeper purpose underneath everything we do here. And it's like the more that I immerse, like pour myself into what I'm doing here, the more I can actually feel connected, not in like the specifics of what I'm doing. Like when I started, there was some resistance I had around like spending a lot of time in here, like alone. But I think the more I do it, the more the shared like goal keeps me connected with everyone, not necessarily in the form, but just in like a feeling. It's a feeling of like putting this first. And I find that I can't necessarily trust anything specifically, but this shared purpose is what I can trust, and it's what I feel lifts me up out of this darkness faster and faster.
You cry, you cry a lot, right? Like
yes.
around us. And if someone says how you're doing, you take it quite literally, and which is beautiful. You're like, well, and your eyes just start watering up, and people have to be ready to hear how you're doing. Did that happen to you in your last job?
No. No, I have to say I probably couldn't have survived like another week, let alone another year. Like, yeah, it's feeling harder and harder to put on like the face of innocence, basically. Like I can't do that.
So here you can just cry.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And do you have like you came in and we just said, okay, Zach, you can help design our artificial intelligence system for the bot, and we just kind of gave you full access, and it was like, whoa, that's overwhelming to be leading this major project. So we switched you. We said, well, why don't you work with Laverne on the bot and really take direction from her, join the studio team and take direction from Jeffrey and Nicholas. But here in the studio, you'd say Nicholas is probably the one that you take the most direction from?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of a pretty even split.
How do you like taking direction from Nicholas?
I think it's always just an opportunity. Like I can look at where I think I know what the best way of doing it is, and it's like one of those moments where I can practice, like it doesn't matter if your brother is wrong or right. He's right because of what he is. And actually in my case it's even better almost, in that I know I was coming at the AI project and taking that like oversight role. I feel like it was more from like a personal perspective, like what do I want to do to get this project out of the ground, rather than like what actually is most helpful. So like the first step there is to see, like, I don't actually know what's most helpful, and Nicholas can help me see that by telling me to do things I wouldn't normally do. Yeah.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Maybe we can use this opportunity to ask Nicholas, what's your core lesson that you practice working in the studio with?
Well, I would say studio and everything in general, it would be direct communication. Just learning to really actually there's something you shared with me yesterday that just actually helped clarify it more, where it was about just really feeling like I'm in alignment, that everything I say or do is really just is direct, that I'm not hiding behind like a double question, that I'm not asking about something, but really saying something underneath that. And it's just been getting more and more revealed to me where it is I do that, where I'm not allowing myself to just be really authentic and speak to what it is I feel like in the moment, whether I feel inspired by something, whether I feel like I feel hurt by something someone said, or angry, or, you know, just really being there and not trying to be like the good guy, a concept that I've grown up with.
Because you said when you were with your parents that you saw early on that if you expressed emotion, you get hit, like either physically or emotionally, just like stop that. And so now you're working through giving yourself permission to be authentic with what you're feeling. It can take the form of being direct, hear about what you feel is helpful for the studio, and then within a relationship, it can be helpful. Like, I don't know if you want to share a specific example even from last night. I heard you tried something new.
Well, yeah. Well, I know last night there ended up being this trigger or something for me where Yuta, who I'm in a relationship with, had shared just very briefly, like, oh, you and Susanna are like this. And I don't know, she was just saying something blatant, and I could feel this little, like, And I ended up going to her and just asking, like, well, what did you mean by this? But that was like this double question that I couldn't actually see in the moment until, you know, further exploration, that actually what I really wanted to say is I feel hurt, that I feel associated or looked down upon or unequal, or, you know, that's actually what was going on. And you know, I'm just kind of learning to see where I do that. And so then
and you wanted to extend some affection every once in a while.
I've been wanting to give Yuta a kiss for almost 4 months now. And didn't know what to say that on it. And I don't know, just after further exploration of just sharing all the thoughts last night, I just felt like, oh yeah, what was I kind of waiting for? And I just really felt all the love, and it just felt right to me, and willing to like take the hit of maybe for not feeling the same way, and I ended up kissing her, and it was beautiful. So
we smile because we celebrate Nicholas is practicing direct communication, but you would ask, can I kiss you? And she'd be like, in that moment, what do I do with that answer? And I said, maybe just go for it. And so he did it last night, and it worked really well. So.
It's beautiful just to see, like, oh, because I didn't realize that was actually part of my lesson, like that was another area where it was like this double question, like where really it's just like following that kind of direct communication, just actually going for it.
Thank you, Nicholas. Okay, well, we'll move on to our next thing. I thought we feel ready to go outside. Sure. Or this is the old studio, as we said. These are the people that are working behind it, and as you could see, it's all for the healing. Without that, it's no different than anything else. So I'm gonna put my shoes on here, and we're gonna take you out and show you the space that we're gonna move to the new studio. Might we need a little bit of time? So here we go.
We don't have far to go.
We come out this door. See, here it is. This is a brand new building. This is Camas, the main house over here. And this has just been added. You can see all that snow. It's a new roof where we just walk out, and right there is going to be a red light, so people will know that what?
When we're recording.
When we're recording.
When we're live, so people don't rush in.
You can escape that way too. Oh, the heat's even on. Look at this. This is the new control room where we're going to have a series of computers, and they can look through this window here. I don't know if you can see through it. There you go. You can see there's another room right through that window. so they can control all the.
This is bigger than our old studio altogether.
This one room is bigger than our old studio. There's heater in there, live Ethernet cable coming in. And here's the actual studio now. Maybe you should open that door over there. This is just to let some light into the room. But look at this. What are we going to have up there, Jeffrey, on the roof? We're going to have racks of light.
So we're going to have a huge aluminum rack on the ceiling that supports all our lighting to keep the floor space open for our cameras and our in-studio guests for the new From the Bottom Up on Saturday night at 6 o'clock.
Jeffrey, it's like going to be like Saturday Night Live, he says, but we'll see. So this has been your baby. Why were you inspired to do this?
Oh, well, if you watched my last show, this is the answer to my prayer. It was when we had this community meeting down in Mexico where we were all brought together and David was sharing. It's time for us to extend, and the shows were what was given for us to extend in our different ways. Mine, as you know, is through 12 steps to a life of full devotion. Each one of us had these opportunities, and we built the studio that QDS is there in now, which has been rapidly expanding and upgrading. And then, the idea was to continue to, expand and make it a more accessible and bigger space. And then when I got here, we started, you probably remember seeing a couple of shows at the kitchen table. And we said, no, we need a dedicated space. So we've been operating out of that small room. But as our minds expand, so does our studio.
Yeah, Jeffrey's always had, before he came here, all these super big inspirations like developing film. Actually, you have a film production company, Shadow Films. And people were they always wanted to be part of big projects with him, but he just couldn't do it. It just felt like there's something in his heart that couldn't launch. And now I feel like everything that he's ever wanted is being given, and his resources are just going towards these cool things that we get to share with all of you. That's what's so cool about all this is we get to share it all. Like this would be nothing if there was no sharing and it's just a studio. Yeah, so
what is it for?
What is it for? It's for sharing. Okay, well, we'll walk back to our tiny studio for now.
Wait, one last look.
You can see me here? Okay, good. Well, that's a little tour of what's coming and why we need the 2 weeks to just kind of take a break. And of course, we're going to have our online retreat next weekend. I'll be a big part of that with David, and I think Kristen's going to join us, and lots of music. So, and then that whole next 5-6 days, we're just going to be flipping everything in there and getting it ready. So barring some unforeseen circumstance, that's what'll happen. So just wanted to clearly communicate, no more morning shows for 2 weeks. And next week's the online retreat. And then after that, we'll start our new schedule. Check it all out though on spirit.ai because all the information will be there. So, yeah, I think I've actually covered everything. Sent David a text, but so yeah, this is, I guess, our last New Year's last show of the year, and maybe I can just open it up. I knew it was going to be shorter because we have 21 people arriving. People have left right now from our studio team to go pick them up at the airport for our 3-week silent retreat. So I'm going to leave in an hour and go pick them up in Heber at Walgreens and drive them up to show them the monastery. And the Highlander has a glass roof. So the 4 people that get to be in my vehicle will get to do this canyon run where they get to see all the beautiful rocks on top of them as if they're in like a glass ball. So I'm excited to do that. But yeah, maybe I can just open it up. Does anybody have anything they want to share or express before I end the last episode? Oh, there's Deb and John.
Heidi just raised her hand. Go ahead, Heidi.
I just want to, can you hear me? Good morning. I just want to tell you guys, thank you. I feel that, you know, and I speak for all of us when I say, I feel it's all for me. And I just have been feeling the excitement of the Spirit rushing through everything. There's a lot on the horizon for, for any who has said yes to the Spirit. I just feel a big movement. Grateful for your guys' transparency and keeping us connected. We do feel like you're family. We feel like we're family because you guys keep us connected. And we've got little like satellites of family all over the world because of you. And the Spirit is opening us up wide open. We're all saying yes. And I am so grateful to have this reflection of my own mind that you guys are all saying yes with me. And we're all joining in this way. I'm just excited. And I feel like I'm kind of stuck in one place, but at the same time, my mind is everywhere, just like God's is. It's just everywhere. The body seems to be in one place, but the mind isn't. And thank you. I look forward to your shows every morning. I look forward to Jeffrey's every morning. When I can't get in, that's my forgiveness lesson, because sometimes I can't get in. I'm just grateful for being connected, and Spirit hears us in a big way. And this is the yes I said yes to, and all of us said yes to, and I just feel the Spirit moving in a glorious way. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Heidi. That's beautiful. Yeah. I'm thinking of that line, the world has not yet experienced a comprehensive awakening. You know, Andy wrote that on our Spiri, somewhere he wrote it. Oh, maybe on our YouTube page, which we just launched today, the new SpiriTV page. And I feel like that's somehow that just really touches me right now. That's what we're doing. And when you say that, like we're all saying yes together and we're all waking up together, that somehow that is the only way. Because if Jesus says you cannot leave one slave behind, then that undoes the idea that I myself am going to get so happy and wake up and then disappear while everybody else is left to suffer. No, it's more like everybody has to come with me. So if there's one brother that I perceive as struggling, then there's some work to do in my mind. And we take everybody. So thank you for that. And I actually, I had written David just before the show. He this is a surprise because he didn't know and I didn't know, but I think he's here on Zoom. So I just thought we could bring him on and he could just, if there's any message he wants to share as at the end of the year, there he is. Hi, David. He can do that. So.
Yeah. It's been such a joy watching it all and watching some of the shows today. And Heidi said it well. You know, we are really all connected, and it doesn't really matter where the bodies are. And then what you just said is really the core of it, that we don't go home alone, that everybody goes with us. And I know Andy was talking about that idea recently too, where we all wake up together. And it is really in one instant. We all wake up in a holy instant of light. That's what the wake up is. It's not like a lot of people feel that there were ascended masters in the past, and when they ascended, they went back to God, and the rest of humanity is just stuck asleep. But Jesus says in A Course in Miracles, when I awoke, you were with me. So it's like, how willing are you to accept what Jesus said? When I awoke, you were with me. Because that's really the only question it comes down to. How willing am I to accept the resurrection, the correction completely? And this is a beautiful year-end broadcast, and I know the idea has come up a number of times on Ricki's show and on a number of broadcasts, make this year different by making it all the same. So this is our year of celebration. This is our year of joy, of happiness, and our year of embracing fully our Christ self and letting go of every other concept or idea in our mind. And I'm excited. It looks like when we have the Bottom Up premiering there on January 12th, in the new studio, that'll be a fun experience for everybody too, because I understand, Jason, you're going to have a live audience in there, so that'll liven the place up too. You have a global digital audience and a live audience, and there's nothing like live TV.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'll just be really intimate with the group and just share that with the whole world. So.
Yeah, that's the intimacy. That's the true intimacy, where you have nothing to hide. There's a part in the Course, sometimes people watch our shows and listen to our teachings and says, does Jesus even mention private thoughts? But he mentions private thoughts in the workbook, and he also, early part of the workbook, he also mentions it in the talking about the holy instant. But if you would have no thoughts that you would keep to yourself alone, that's what a private thought is. If you would have no thoughts that you would keep to yourself alone, then you will realize you are one with everything. Because it's only the belief that private thoughts can be shared that generates this artificial projected world. So it's really only one lesson is being so relaxed about your thoughts and so free and open that you don't have to hide and protect them. You just have to notice them and remember, that's not me. Those thoughts aren't me. They never were me. And then you get a purification to the point where you realize that only love is real and only love can be shared and only the thoughts of God can be shared. That ego thoughts are not real, so they're not capable of being shared or extended. So that's a key idea. So we're all going into this together to have that experience. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. We're grateful for it all.
Mm. Mm. You look so bright and shiny.
Yeah, I'm in my own little studio here.
That's cool.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, thank you. I guess, does anyone else have their hands up, Jeff, or is that it?
No, at the moment that's it, but let me have a quick look around.
Oh, there's Jan in Holland, and Esther.
Oh, looks like Heidi, looks like Esther's waving her hand.
Yeah, they're all waving because I said wave. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, anything else, David? I think I'll just say Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah. Allows me to eat lunch before I head up to the monastery.
Very good. That's good. That's important.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming on, David. And this is our cake. This is our we consider the digital studio work, our cake, and we have all these muffins, like Silent Retreat and all this stuff that's going to keep happening, but we're going to keep pouring our heart and energy into this so we can share the love. So we'll see you in the new year. Oh yeah, we can have our studio come here. These guys weren't ready for these questions this morning. Well, they really were, but they're like, no one's here to shut us off. It's gonna be on forever.
We are Strongline. Yeah.
No one's here to pull the plug. Troy's our TV guy. What do we do? How do we pull the plug here, Troy?
Yeah. Okay. See you everybody next year.
Okay, bye-bye.
Don't touch that dial. Up next is Frank from Zurich. I'm just trying to see if he's on the screen. Yeah, there he is. He's assuming the position. So we'll join Frank in a guided meditation. Take it away, Frank.
Can you hear me now?